Hi, my name is Charles, and welcome back to another one-day build. Today we're going to be building out Minesweeper for one of our boards as requested. Minesweeper was originally made back in 1992 as a game for the Windows operating system. The basic format of the game is a large grid of uniform gray squares, and under those squares, under a specific number of them at least, there are mines. At any point in the game you click on one of those mines, you lose. But the strategy comes in the fact that every square that doesn't have a mine underneath it has a number that corresponds to the number of mines that are immediately adjacent to it. So you can use this information to gauge, get a pretty good idea as to what squares are safe and what squares aren't. And so the goal is, in the end, to click on every square that isn't a mine. But instead of explaining it, it might just be easier to show you. So here's our board. I start off by clicking a random square and hoping that I get one of the empty areas in the middle. I do not appear to have been lucky so far. Okay, I have some measure of information now, so I might guess that maybe this is a mine and hope that this is, okay. So I've gotten an empty square, and so this gives me some useful information. For instance, one of the most basic strategies of Minesweeper, because I see a 1 on a corner, I know that this has to be a mine. Same here with this 2. There's only 2 possible options for it, so these are both mines. And what this lets me do is, I see that this square has only 2 mines next to it, and I've already filled in those 2 mines, so I can just hold down, or I can just basically fill out the rest of the squares, because I know that they cannot be mines. And so you can continue to use... Oh. We'll wait until this ad. Oh, I missed apparently. Oh, right, because that one was the first mine I guessed. And so that's Minesweeper in a nutshell. So this one-day build is going to be pretty different from our previous builds in that it's not going to be an active game. And what I mean by that is games like Pong and Snake, you have an actively moving object that you have to be able to react to in real time. But that's not going to be a problem with Minesweeper. There are going to be some other unique elements, namely there has to be a cursor. The user has to be able to move around the board and know where they're currently positioned. So that will be unique to this project as well. So we're back, it's the next week, and I'm pretty proud of where we got. Because parts of this project were a lot easier than the previous one-day builds we've done, namely the fact that I didn't have to deal with users having to react quickly to certain elements of the game. I was able to put a lot more polish on certain elements that I wasn't quite able to on the other one-day builds. I quite enjoyed that aspect of it, and I think it's a much more complete game than the previous one-day builds, so pretty happy with that. One of the major improvements of this one-day build over previous one-day builds we've done is that it has a menu, which seems pretty basic, but none of our previous games have had. And it's also launchable from within our regular web app, whereas previously this was something I had to go into the back end and run for people. Now, anyone in our office can walk up and just start playing it if they want to, and then just switch back and forth between the regular operation of the sign. And it's also got things like instructions on how to play it and like a game over screen and whatnot. So just the small things that make a game a complete game as opposed to a demo. So I just got to launch it from here, and we should have nothing. Good. Here's our instruction screen. You use the arrow keys to move your cursor around, and I'm just using Y to set a flag and X to reveal that square. So let's hit start. As you can see, I'm up at the top left. Let's just take a gamble on our first one and see if we can get lucky. Okay, we're 1 around there. This is always the tough part about starting Minesweeper, is just hoping you get lucky with, there you go. All right. So now we know this has to be a mine, which means this is free, which means this is free. Oh, I flagged that by accident. I want to reveal that instead. So that's a 2, okay. This must also be free. which means this must be a mine, which means this has to be a mine, right? Yeah. Which means this has to be a mine. So this is free. And that must also be mine. Cool. Let's see what we got going over here. That's a mine. That's free. That's also free, which means that's a mine. That must be free. What do we got there? Free, free. These must all be free. That's got to be mine. So must that. There's another mine. And what is that? That's a 2. Okay, so that means that's a mine, free, these are free. Oh, I misplaced one of them. Oh, I didn't see the other mine. Oh, I lost. Well, try not to take that as an indication of my Minesweeper skills. I promise I'm better than that. But as you can see, it's functioning and it's got a little more polish than our previous games. There are still some things that I would like to add if I get the chance. For instance, right now, there's a fixed number of mines. So I'd like to add another menu where there's a difficulty selector. You could choose more or less mines. And I'd also love to test this thing on a larger board, because obviously, you know, the bigger the board, the better the Minesweeper. But these are all improvements that I might actually pursue, because I think this would be fun to start putting out on one of our boards. But yeah, so that was the video. I hope you enjoyed it. Like, comment, subscribe if you want to see more of this kind of content.